Deep in the heart of the Carpathian Mountains, in a region known for its restless earth, there is a slope where the ground itself is on fire. These are the living fires. For thousands of years, these flames have danced in the darkness, unlit by any human hand, unfed by any visible wood. Science gives us a dull, geological explanation, but the shepherds who have roamed these hills for millennia know better. They speak of ancient curses, hidden treasures, and gates to a world beneath our own. This is a place where the earth's raw power breaks through the surface, reminding us who really commands the mountain. Welcome to Well of Monsters. Vrancea County is Romania's seismic heart. It is a land of steep slopes covered in pines, isolated valleys, and a subtle, persistent tension that can be felt in the air by any stranger. For generations, the people here have grown accustomed to the ground trembling beneath them, but Andreiasu is different. It is a restless mountain that seems to groan under its own weight. This chronic instability is the stage upon which the living fires play their spectral role. Geologically speaking, the Vrancea region is a curvature zone where the Earth's crust is actively compressed. Far beneath the quiet forests of Andreiasu, immense pressures force natural gases, primarily methane, to rise through fissures in the sedimentary rocks. These aren't just simple bubbles escaping into the atmosphere, it is the residual energy of the mountain seeking an exit. Before the flames are lit, only a discreet and threatening hiss can be heard, like a whispered breath coming from the cracks in the dry, gray soil. The atmosphere is saturated with a heavy smell, a warning that beneath the layer of earth lies an oven that never goes out. The discovery of the living fires is lost in the mists of time. They have burned for as long as there has been memory in the villages of Vrancea. The first humans to encounter them were likely Neolithic hunters or Bronze Age shepherds driving their flocks along the hidden mountain paths. Imagine the terror of a shepherd 5,000 years ago, settling his flock for the night in a seemingly peaceful valley, only to see the earth erupt in spectral, bluish flames as soon as darkness falls. These first encounters must have seemed like an error in reality, a disruption of the natural order. For these people, the fire was not geological, it was divine or demonic. Although shepherds used the fires to warm themselves during the long, freezing mountain nights, they treated the soil with absolute, almost religious reverence. They knew that the same ground that warmed them could also consume them. The living fires became a landmark on the psychic map of Vrancea, a place where the boundary between the mortal world and the deep unknown was alarmingly thin. No local dared to curse or spit near the flames, fearing the mountain would swallow their voice and their life. Folklore quickly filled the space where science was completely absent. In the villages surrounding Andreiasu, children grew up with stories about how the living fires were born. The most widespread legend speaks of a greedy giant or an ancient sorcerer cursed to be buried alive in the bowels of the mountain. The living fires are, in this vision, his eternal breath, a symptom of his endless torment beneath the rocks. It is said that when the flames increase in intensity, the giant is trying to free himself, shaking the earth from its foundations. Other stories speak of treasures hidden by outlaws or Dacian kings, guarded by spirits manifesting as fire. It is believed that the flames dance more vividly on specific nights, such as Midsummer Night or St. Andrew's Night when the veil between worlds is thinnest. Elders warned that digging near the living fires meant inviting disaster, as the guardian spirits would unleash a curse on anyone greedy enough to disturb their infernal watch. Visually, the living fires of Andreiasu offer a spectacle that seems to come from another planet. During the day, the flames can be hard to spot, appearing as ripples of hot air above the arid soil. However, with the onset of dusk, the place transforms. Flames burst from the ground in shades of yellow, orange, and a strange, electric blue. They don't need wood or coal, they simply float above the fissures, feeding directly from the heart of the mountain. Their height varies constantly, from a few centimeters to over half a meter, depending on the underground gas pressure. Their sound is a hypnotic hiss, which on windless nights can become downright deafening to someone standing close. There are moments when the flames seem to communicate with each other, going out at one point only to burst with double force a few meters away. To an untrained observer, this dance doesn't seem random at all, but rather a form of communication from a subterranean entity signaling its presence. Geologists who studied the Andreiasu area confirmed that this is the largest and most active field of living fires in Romania. The reserve covers an area of nearly 400 square meters, where the soil is composed of fissured sandstones and marls. Methane gas, under constant pressure, travels through these stone labyrinths to the surface. Once it comes into contact with oxygen and is lit, whether by lightning, tourists, or self-ignition on scorching days, it remains lit indefinitely. But science cannot explain everything. There are areas where the soil is so hot that no plant can survive, creating spots of dead earth in the middle of the lush vegetation of the Carpathians. The chemical composition of the soil around the fires is altered, being rich in rare minerals brought up from great depths. Researchers trying to map the exact path of the gases discovered that the fissure system is much more complex than previously thought, branching deep into the Earth's crust where no drill can reach. One of the most fascinating aspects of the living fires is how they interact with extreme weather phenomena. During the heavy winters in Vrancea, when snow reaches thicknesses of over a meter, the Andreiasu area remains an oasis of bizarre warmth. Snow falling on the hot soil melts instantly, turning into a dense steam that envelopes the flames, giving them a mystic, almost supernatural appearance. The image of orange flames emerging from the black earth, surrounded by white walls of snow, is one of the most visually powerful in all of Romania. Locals say that on the coldest nights, wild animals, bears or wolves, sometimes approach the edge of the reserve to warm themselves, but they never step into the perimeter of the fires, instinctively sensing the danger lurking beneath their feet. The fire knows no season, it has its own calendar and its own law, ignoring the cycles of nature that govern the rest of the mountain. Over the centuries, many have tried to exploit the area, convinced that the fires are a sign of immense wealth hidden beneath the rocks. There are old chronicles speaking of gold hunters who tried to dig where the flames were highest. Legend says that none of them ever finished the work. Some were struck by sudden gas emissions and lost consciousness, while others witnessed inexplicable ground collapses. It is said that the land at Andreiasu does not want to be disturbed. The curse of the treasure is so deeply rooted in local culture that even during the communist period, when the state searched for resources everywhere, no massive industrial exploitation of these gases was attempted. There was always a tacit fear that if someone tried to close these mouths of fire or divert them, the mountain would retaliate through earthquakes of unprecedented violence. The fire is left to burn freely, like a protection tax the community pays to the subterranean forces. Andreiasu attracts not only geologists and tourists but also those passionate about paranormal phenomena. It has often been reported that around the fires, electronic equipment tends to malfunction. Camera batteries drain inexplicably fast, and compasses can point in wrong directions. Some independent researchers argue that the constant flow of gases and the air ionization produced by the flames create a specific electromagnetic field that can influence human perception. There are witnesses who swear they saw humanoid shapes forming from the steam and smoke of the flames on summer nights. Others speak of a state of euphoria or, conversely, extreme anxiety that grips them when they spend too much time in the burning perimeter. It is a place that seems to amplify emotions and distort the senses. Whether it is a chemical reaction to inhaled gases or something much deeper, Andreiasu remains a space where the boundary between objective reality and illusion becomes blurred under the flickering light of the flames. For esotericists, the living fires represent one of Romania's energy gates. It is believed that these places where the elements of earth and fire meet so directly are connection points with the subtle energies of the planet. Some visitors come here for meditation, claiming that the energy of the place allows them to reach higher states of consciousness. But for locals, the gate is a much more literal one. They consider the fissures through which the gas emerges to be direct links to a subterranean kingdom, a world of spirits that never sleep. Local legends warn against speaking loudly near the fires, as voices could be carried by the flames into the depths, waking entities that should be left in peace. The gate is open in only one direction. The earth can speak to us through fire, but we should not answer back. The living fires have proven practically impossible to extinguish. There are local accounts of torrential rains flooding the entire valley, or of firefighter interventions attempting to secure the area, and yet, as soon as the elements calm down, the flames reappear as if by magic. The gas pressure is constant, and the soil itself is so hot that it acts as a permanent spark plug. This steadfast nature is the source of the name living. For the community, the fire has a soul, a will of its own to survive. It burned during the time of Dacian kings, Romanian princes, the communist dictatorship, and continues to burn in modern democracy. It represents a chronology much older and more patient than ours, a reminder that human efforts to control nature are, most of the time, futile and ephemeral. Perhaps the most threatening aspect of the living fires is their rumored link with Vrancea's seismic activity. Locals firmly believe that the behavior of the flames can predict a major earthquake. In the hours or days before a strong seism, the underground pressure changes drastically, causing a much larger emission of gases at Andreiasu. Witnesses claim that before the devastating earthquakes of 1977 and 1986, the living fires, which are usually less than half a meter high, exploded to heights of 4 or 5 meters, making a sound like a jet engine. The sky above the village turned intense orange, and the ground became too hot to be touched even from a distance. The fires are not just a tourist curiosity, they are a terrifying sentinel that screams when the giant under the mountain is about to turn from one side to the other. Today, the living fires of Andreiasu are a recognized geological reserve, protected by law but remaining wild and unpredictable. They attract a constant stream of tourists who stand awestruck before the fire unlit by human hand. But for the people of Vrancea, they remain a part of the fiber of their lives, a silent and constant partner in a land that is never truly quiet. As the world outside progresses, as technology dominates our lives, the living fires burn on, indifferent to human history. They are a direct link to the turbulent core of the planet, a remnant of the molten logic that formed the mountains themselves. They are a burning signature on the landscape, a reminder that the world beneath our feet has a voice, and sometimes, it chooses to speak through fire. Subscribe and ring the bell if you want to keep exploring the ancient and unexplained corners of the world with me. Take care. And remember, I'll see you at the bottom of the well.